Well, hello.
Hello.
It is really great to see you at the first pre-session of the new challenge. I'm really excited about Own Your Future. And I'm really honored, Benj, that tonight you want to kick it off. And for some, it's early morning, but my end of the world, your end of the world, it is around dinner time. And I'm really pleased to actually announce this new challenge. And I would love to have just a short chat with you, Benj, about how did you experience the previous challenge?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I feel honoured that you asked me to come on. I I think I've done, I can't remember now, two or three at least of the challenges, and yeah, I'm really excited about this upcoming one. Um, so, are you asking me now, like what did I like
No,
about
no,
it,
we
or are
just
you just
it's no,
introducing that that's what you're going to ask?
no, it's just a spontaneous call. Like actually, it's supposed to be a live call, and we are just faking it till we make it, uh, because technology failed us big time today. Um, so we'll have that fixed for tomorrow. But like you said, you've done multiple challenges, and this time it's the Own Your Future challenge, which is a sequential in the series of challenges we have been running over the last 18 months. And every time, of course, there is this new perspective. And to this time, I've called it Own Your Future. I've been preparing it actually since April when we did our last Realign Your Future challenge. And Own Your Future is actually all about what comes into play when you want to have your preferred future um, real, realized,
Yeah.
achieved, on top of your mind. So we're going to talk about self leadership, ownership, spiritual emotional intelligence, which is actually a new topic. It arose actually somewhere last year in one of the challenges, and it started to really unfold as being not just a side thing, but a key element when connecting to your inner voice, um, and developing this self leadership, self control, but also leading others, leading growth. And so I'm really excited. A lot of people already signed up, and many people probably will sign up soon. Like there are always a lot of sign-ups in the last days. So I trust the process in that one. But I was just really curious, what was the main thing that you actually took out of your first challenge? I think that's a good first question.
Yeah. So I think for me, the thing that struck me in the first challenge I did was one of the exercises that we did, which was a time travel exercise where you took us into the future. I won't give too much away for people who've not done it, but basically, you imagine a future self looking back at the past year, and for me, it was the first time kind of doing that sort of exercise. Um, and the way that you do it in the challenge is you engage different creative processes. And for me, I chose kind of creative writing, but I had a picture in my head, and it was a real kickstart or an accelerator for me, I guess, on that journey of like, oh, maybe I have some ideas of what's going on. Maybe actually the stuff that for a lot of my life, when I've come up with things, everybody goes, "Oh, that's a bit nutty." Actually, there could be something to it, and maybe I should listen to it and pay it a bit more attention. Um, so yeah, I think that was probably my biggest takeaway from it.
Yeah, actually, it's one of those core beliefs that everyone is creative, um, but it's a matter of finding out who you are so you can express that through your unique creativity. Um, but on the other hand, when you discover your creative flow, I would nearly say mojo, then that really helps. And sometimes just another process And definitely when you set time apart to find out who you can become, um, is breathtaking, surprising, uh, confronting, but really exciting. So you mentioned it accelerated you. So what's the main thing that you say that's a tangible output when I look back on it? Because you could measure that it accelerated you. I think the audio is gone.
I was just talking to myself. Sorry.
That was an amazing takeaway.
Yeah, I haven't sat down and scientifically measured it, but the sense that I got was like it was a gear up, an acceleration, and I think that so tangible outcomes. It was the start of unlocking kind of creative ideas in a new way for me, and I kind of feel like I'm still on the journey from that first one. I don't feel like I've realized all the tangible outcomes, but it's taken me down this trajectory that I'd been searching for a new trajectory for a long time, and coasting probably is the best, like coasting through life. And what it done, and why I use the word acceleration, is I moved from coasting to knowing a bit clearer where I want to go. And when you know where you want to go, you can actually engage your engine. You can focus your mind and your creativity and things towards that in some way. Not that it's a place that I'm going to, but it's in a direction that I want to go. And I want to, from kind of meandering or coasting to go, I want to go and explore over there. So, you can about ship, face in that direction and go for it. That's how I describe it. I don't know. I'm still probably talking far too metaphorically for everybody listening, but that's how my brain works.
No, but absolutely. And I think that...
No, I was going to say, and I think the key from all that bit that I described in that very first exercise we did on day one was I started a little bit to trust my own, who I am, my inner voice, that intuition, inclination. And it started me on a journey of practicing it more and more and being really intentional to hear it and to listen to it and to give it value and credibility. And that's what's accelerated me.
And you have done it's funny. I remember you doing many challenges, and the big takeaway was actually the first day. And I think that is absolutely true, because when we get it is this shift we have from we tend to say we live in the now, but actually what we are doing is cleaning up yesterday's task list. So having the shift to looking at the now from the future, because I believe most of future that becomes real is now, but we are simply missing it because we tend to walk backwards. And this shift from literally like 180 degrees shift to looking forwards, that's the big action. But on top of that, you have refined your perspective every time. So if you do the similar challenge, the similar process again, 6 months later, 12 months later, it will be a refinement of the other one, which makes sense because life, you said direction, destination. If it is going on a map, it's not like going like a Z. Every challenge you do, you go like completely the other way. No, you go from milestone to milestone. And you redefine it, you extend the view, and so that's absolutely fine. That's my personal experience as well. The breakthrough was the process, the game changing is actually the output that is refined over and over again.
Yeah. I was just thinking as why giving value to that inner voice and to my thoughts, my creativity, and my ideas have impacted things. And I think it comes down to, if you start to trust yourself and believe in yourself and lead yourself with purpose, then other people start to take you a bit more seriously and to listen to you, because you're really valuing yourself. It's easy to put yourself in second place and not prioritize, trusting yourself, listening to yourself. And when you do that, it's weird, but other people do the same to you.
Yeah. We tend to say that simple thing, like priority number one of a leader is self-development.
Yeah.
And but it is key, if you don't put yourself on an equal standoff, that your direction, your purpose, your future perspective is equally important with compared to the people that have a big name and the people who have no name. Like, it doesn't matter. It is that you have to own your future.
Yeah.
How big or how small your perspective is, you're the only one who could own it, could lead it, fulfill it, adjust it. And and that's in the age we live now in. That is actually, that's probably one of the keys in the new challenge as well. Like, you have to hold the keys yourself. Like, you are the key holder. You have to turn the key and protect the key.
Yeah.
And it is metaphorically, because we talk about the concept around the content. But I think it's easy to translate to ourselves. You mentioned inner voice. For me, connecting to your inner voice is really the starting point. If I can understand, hear, distinct this small voice inside of me, surrounded by external voices that are very loud, then I can connect to my source of life. And I can go upstream against the flow. I can take a stand for what I believe that's my future. And as leaders, as the other small one, everyone is a leader, because your choices or the lack of them will influence those around you. So you as a leader need to know where you need to go and hold that ground, and not being tossed around by all the opinions that are manipulated by bigger external voices. That nearly sounded political correct, but I didn't mean to make it sound like that. So I took something out of one of the previous challenges that definitely will come back in this challenge as well, on a deeper level. And I thought it would be interesting to look at that, to just also hand some value to those who watch, and get you excited to sign up. And when you have signed up, to show up, because like I already mentioned it's only you that can give priority to your future. So I can help you by showing up on time, but you have to show up as well. Like, it's your future, not mine. So it's not my gig; it's your gig to make your future work. So if technology supports me, I'll just blow up my part of the screen and shift to the other tool. It looks like it works. So, Benj, you already mentioned it, that inner voice. But before we look at the inner voice, I want to look at what I always call like this gap between me and the future, which actually is what some call the Valley of Tears, and others call it the gap of the impossible. And if you look to just books and literature around it, it's called Theory U as well. But I always compare it to life exists of ups and downs. But when I over time try to draw a circle. It looks like this U shape, a valley. And actually, what already mentioned by Benj is actually that shift to looking at myself from the future is actually what happens on the left of it. It's happening when we start to take our dreams, our passion, our foresight or prophetic, whatever you want to call it, serious, but it is in the status quo. Well, at the other end, we define our goals, we define our assignment, or in other words, we design our future perspective. And I sometimes call that my future quo to really make a distinction between I have a normal setting default in the now, but I will have another next level setting in the future. So the next step in this perspective is actually that in the low end of the valley, it's just like hiking in the mountains. It's the most green place. It's where the little stream goes. It's where all the water is, where all the 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 nice flowers grow. That's actually the place where you will find your future identity. And your future identity is an element actually of your future mindset, which we also in the challenge going to look at, like a mindset of who you can become, instead of a mindset of being comfortable or growth mindset. I make the distinction between a future mindset and a conventional mindset. So just to make it easy, only two. That shift to a future mindset is where you start to, I would say, chase, pursue with all your purpose and all your passion to become that person that you can become. And that's quite low place, but it is the place where you let go stuff. And it starts actually with being frustrated. Like maybe it's just me. Probably not. But just imagine you have this amazing dream. You have set this impossible goals, and they simply are impossible based on the current options settings. But the moment you start to write them down, they actually are a bit closer to becoming possible. It starts with being frustrated. It really ends up with emotional pain, but then you have to just let go. And actually, we call this like the steep hill down of incompetence, because your future setting is connected to future skills, future competences. So, to go through this setting and completely letting go, actually, that's letting go your ego, you can start to rise and shine, develop new skills. Then you have this state of, I would think, stance of life where you become grateful for what you already have received versus that you become impatiently for what you are still anticipating for. And that is something that has to do with joy. And then at the end, you become intentional. And actually, intentionality is really close to frustration, but it is on the positive, creative side, the active side, instead of the passive, complaining, comparing side. So these I'll go deeper in. I just give you the overall view. This left side compared to the right side, you could say, is surrounded by voices. We have the external voices. That could be our society. That could be the ones that love us but don't understand where we want to go. And the inner voice is definitely, it needs to come from the inside. It's the intrinsic motivation that's fueled by your inner voice, and which is different than all the things you feel you need to do by external pressure. That part of the inner voice is actually the starting point where we talk about spiritual intelligence. And we will go deeper into the challenge, in the challenge into spiritual intelligence. But when you start with your foresight, your discernment, your your gift of understanding direction and giving perspective, your ability to create solutions, those they're a part of your inside, your human spirit fueled with your source of life, and it's the well of your inner voice that needs to be connected to your emotional intelligence. Your emotional intelligence is actually an overflow of your spiritual intelligence, and by that your new reality will be a demonstration from the inside out to a new reality. And you could say, like, it starts with where we are sensing things, then we talk about feeling, like emotions, and then we talk about thinking, the rational part. We could use the rational part. I think it's one of Brené Brown's first talks that are really really famous. That she said, if your rational um, thinking is following up your intuitive thinking, it just helps you to start understanding what is already real, and it keeps open what is not yet real. If you don't align the two, then they will just try to eat each other, which has always happened with rational thinking. We just kill vision because we try to rationalize things. So that's an interesting thing. And of course, at the end, it's all about doing. In this perspective, I talked about the voices already. I just mentioned them. And the series of voices is the voice of judgment. We all start to complain, no exceptions. When something is not working out how we imagined it, we start to complain. We try to release the pain we have by becoming cynical. And then in the end, there is this voice of fear, of lack, of not working out, of failure, just a few of them. And the voice of fear is a very loud voice out there. At the other end, if we start connecting to our inner self, our source of life, our inner voice will be this voice of peace, rest, understanding, healing, wholeness, which will overflow in a voice of joy. Someone who's joyful, cheerful, is much more interesting to connect with than someone who's cynical. And then it's the voice of righteousness, acting right, doing the right things. We tend to say it in business settings always. It's not about doing the good things better. It's about starting to find out what the right things are to do. Because there's so much out there, but if you find within all the good things what's right for you to do, then your identity, your creativity starts to really grow, develop, and become expressed into solutions that carry value. So it's not about, let's use that word, it's not about wasting your time, energy, heartbeats on doing good, but it's actually shifting to be intentional and put your heartbeats in doing the right thing to do, because that gives fulfilling of purpose, makes you grow, makes you become the one that you can become. And that's not a player word, that last one. That's the essence of it all. Like, you are here to contribute. What do you need to contribute? That's what you need to find out. You're born with gifts, talents, but you need a lifetime to develop the competence. So, saying a bit with sarcasm, you're born incompetent. So, find out what your talents and gifts are, develop those to be a master and have excellence based on what you carry, then just be someone who has good set of skills. It's about owning your future. This inner voice is actually what's born out of this, and actually not needs to become the sum of those overflows of intelligence into this unique voice, this unique expression of creativity that the world is waiting for. And I literally say the whole world is waiting for, to be unlocked, to be put into his state of glory it deserves to be. It's so from my point of view, it is really key that you find out who you are, who you want to become, and start to put your personal leadership in place to guide it, protect it, and accelerate it. So that's actually just, in short, what words like Oh, I have to see the kill the spotlight. There we go. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. I'm not like yeah, doing your own technology. Yeah. So that's what you triggered me when you said the inner voice. Yeah, I get excited about it. Inner voice.
No, it's good. Like if I look at that content that you've just shown and listen to that there, like I remember the first challenge, you teased a little bit of that, but your insight has grown, and I think that's really exciting because every new challenge, there's some repetition of some of the things that I've done before, which is really good because it's reinforcing. But I love that it's going deeper and you've got new revelation and new depth, and you're on this journey with all the people that you're doing the challenge with. And yeah, it's really cool. I'm excited to see what else has grown and developed in this version. And for me, I'm particularly excited about this one for the title of it. It's really hooked me, the Own Your Future, because I think, at least with where I'm at the moment, that whole thing of actually owning my own problems, owning my own future, cleaning up my messes, making space for, what's ahead. It's all about, what I can do and how, but, sometimes it's really good to have that push and that time and carving the space and time to, and just having some process and tools and techniques to accelerate it.
Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that, because I think, maybe it's my innovation background, but always we hear two sides. It's our brain tends to polarize problems into, we have option A, we have option B, and algorithms actually try to do that. We all know that. Like, I think that Facebook has created more polarization in the world by just helping us to find people that have exactly the same opinion or the opposite. But it is something that is triggering the human brain to polarize things. But actually, both have something good, both have something bad. What if we find the thing not just in the middle, but like on top of it in the center, that has more than just the good parts and none of the minuses? So, and we tend to live in a world that is individualistic at one end and collective at the other hand. And everyone can mention what are the downsides of both. And we feel forced to choose for one.
Yeah.
So I personally believe that relationship is the context in where I have to find a way to live my own life. And in the context of relationship, it's my purpose, my future, my voice, my value. But I can't develop it, explore it, stay on track without the peers around me. So I have to find the right people that want to go for a while the same direction. And if you find one that goes for you the whole direction, I would say marry that person, because they're really rare. And but in general, like, you have to find people that for the moment share purpose, because that will accelerate you, that will create that safe place. So that's also one of the things that I always aim to create in the challenge, is a safe place for people that, because they're heading the same direction, they can be inspired with each other without having the threat that we could be offensive to each other, which always happens, especially in a leadership construct. When we take our own leadership construct, if you accelerate and the one next to you not, you have competition.
Yeah.
If you accelerate and the one that is actually leading you is not, you will become a threat. So whatever development you have in your default leadership construct, it's not going to help you. I found out the hard way. When my paradigm, my mental grid was upgraded due to new perspectives, I started talking about things that didn't fit in the mental grid of the people that I was in a safe place with. So it became not a safe place. It became really toxic place. Whose fault? I started with developing more space mentally. I accepted the paradigm shift. Everyone deserves their own process at their own speed. But that sometimes means we need to have a safe place to accelerate ourselves, to find the language for what we are experiencing. So that's something, and that already connects to the VIP pass. So to be mindful of the time, I just want to give a small heads up. We talked about different topics. I'm not giving you a calendar or an agenda of what day we're going to do what topic, because actually that's so rational thinking. It's much more connected, interconnected, interdependability. But we're going to talk about leadership from different perspectives, starting with self-leadership. We'll talk about ownership. We will talk about the different types of intelligence, how they work together, and how you can start working on developing them. And we definitely give you a lot of tools and peers to not just start the journey, but also to continue the journey with. So going back to the big screen. See you in a minute, Bench. There we go. So it's a 5-day challenge. So today's sessions, tomorrow, and Friday sessions, they're optional. They are just streamed or for the replay, just to prepare you, get you in the mood, get you focused. But the real challenge is the 5 days starting on Monday. It starts at Central European time, 7 p.m. And what you can read, like that's an hour earlier in the UK. That's just 1 p.m., just after noon on the East Coast. And it's 10 a.m., just after morning coffee in on the West Coast of the US. So I hope it fits at least those in Europe and in America. And I'm really sorry for those who live in New Zealand and Australia and Asia. But I hope you still can get a touch, get the feeling of it. So, what we're going to do is every day a live session. And in the live session, I'll give an introduction to the topic. We'll come back to yesterday's session and I'll give you a new assignment that you have 24 hours to do. So previously I said the challenge is for free, but I've noticed the challenge is not for free. It's at no cost, but it's not for free because some people just work on the assignment, well, around the clock, in their brain, in their thinking. And actually that's a good thing because it needs to be top of mind. Your future is something so important that it needs to be part of your daily life and not just like an annual refreshment you do somewhere at the end of December. So the assignment, and I let it totally up to you how you do the assignment. I encourage everyone to use the most creative tools you are used to use, someone new tools. So I'm not going to be like, these are the tools that I prefer, because then we will end up with construction materials. But just what helps. And I heard today, like creative writing. I heard someone else earlier today talking about poetry. We had people that were singing their future into perspective. We had people who ordered their whole household to create a storyboard to find out. So whatever suits you. What I ask you is always, and I explain it through the challenge, to verbally process what you have created, which means make a video that's mainly for yourself, but upload it to the closed Facebook group so that the other participants can watch it, be inspired, give you feedback, and by that we ignite this peer-to-peer, actually coaching, I would say. So the sessions, tomorrow and Friday, same time as this one was planned. I hope these one are live and streamed through Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Then we have the session the week I just said, from Monday to Friday, and we have a final session on September 27th, which will be about actually why this ownership of your future totally fits in the age we are heading to. Like, some things are shifting, and I just want to give you my 2 cents from a futurist perspective to place it in a bigger context when you have some results. The challenge: to get access at no cost, just use the link that comes by every 20 seconds, thefuturechallenge.com. This is where you just fill in your name, your email address, and you get access to it. Also to the link for the Facebook group, you will get an information email. What you also get is the unique invitation to join us live. And now I can talk about us, because all the participants, all the peers, the frequent joiners of the challenge, they are in a Zoom call together with me. So we can have live interaction, live questions around the new topics, the old topics, sharing experiences. And when the broadcast is over, this Q&A continues for at least another, let's say, 20, 25 minutes. So on the fly, in the moment, I'm available to answer your questions. I think that's not like a unique selling point. I think it's just fair, because I ask you to step out of your comfort zone. So step out of your boat. So I want to help you not to drown. So that's also the moment we have interaction with our peers. So that one goes through Zoom. You're more than welcome. You're totally qualified to join. Just make sure that in the information email, you just take the extra step to get the VIP pass. And then you get the calendar and the Zoom links for the sessions. Save your seat. There's plenty of room. And if we are overcrowded, we'll deal with it anyway. Like, the future is something of chaos, chaotic, but we create the best way in it. So that's actually the last info sheet that I want to share. That brings me to, that's a funny one, a wide one. So Benj, I try to unhide you. Yeah, it worked again. I don't know.
I'm here.
I have to double click and I forgot to double click again. So I think this is what I wanted to share. I'm really happy with what you shared. Thank you for opening. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for endorsing the challenge. And I really hope that others will connect with it and join as well. So if there's any last word you would say to...
Well, I've got a vested interest in endorsing it and recommending it, because on all the other ones I've done, I get so much out of the people out of everybody else, and the more people and the different people that join just make it richer and a more incredible experience, because I learn not just through my own stuff, but through seeing other people learn. So yeah, join up, peeps. Don't hesitate. Jump in, both feet. Jump off the cliff, whatever your expression is. Start flying.
Build an airplane on the way down. Yeah, exactly. That's what I ask everyone.
The thing we always say, look, you deserve it. I deserve it. We all deserve it. To just take a little bit of time out and invest in ourselves and dream together, imagine what could be possible, and start a little bit on the journey towards it.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you for your time. And
thank you.
Looking forward to run with you the whole next week in the Own Your Future Challenge, and looking forward to all your questions, signing up, engagement, and yeah, I'm excited. for what it will bring this time. So take care and sign up. You owe it to yourself. Bye now.